getting new clients and being able to get somebody new every once in a while, that actually brings a lot of motivation to me. I'm like, okay. And then seeing their success, that like motivates me a ton. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I know that this is working. Like things are working out. Like just it takes time. But yeah, seeing other patients' success, I'm just like, okay, it's starting to motivate me. And that really helps me stay motivated for sure.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallow. Today, I'm excited to have guest Austin Foguth. He is a physical therapist and owner of SCOR Performance and Recovery here in Stowe, Ohio. Austin, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a few minutes with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Austin, tell the audience a little bit about SCOR. And I've been in your office before. It's really neat to go in there.
Yeah.
But fill the audience in on a little bit more about SCOR.
Okay. Yeah. So SCORE is a sports physical therapy clinic designed to
Yeah.
help young athletes and active adults get back to what they love to do pain-free. Everything is one-on-one with a doctor of physical therapy for every session that you have. So SCORE really prides itself on being a customizable approach to physical therapy. And we do that with custom injury rehab plans that are different for each individual that comes in. Also, we do recovery services as well, such as dry needling, cupping, or any kind of massage techniques to help reduce pain or just improve overall feeling for our patients. And then we also do another thing that's customized is exercise programs. So what I like to do with people are create custom exercise plans that are designed around their goals, their time, availability, and then the access to equipment that they have. So in general, SCORE is just very customizable approach to physical therapy, and you won't have to share your time when you go to therapy with any other clients that are in there.
Right. So when you come into your facility, it's just always one person, no one else sitting there watching somebody work out.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
it's nice. Privacy is nice, especially when you're trying to get back into it.
Exactly. Yep.
So well, that's great. What inspired you to start your own business instead of working for somebody
Yeah.
else or in a hospital somewhere?
Right. So going through grad school at Ohio University, we had opportunities to do our clinical rotations. You had to do them in both outpatient and hospital settings, so inpatient settings. And I've always wanted to work with the population in the outpatient setting, but when I would go to observe them and spend time there and work there full time for several weeks at a time, I just wasn't a fan of the work approach when it came to treating multiple people at one time. Um, there's just a push to try to see as many people as you can in one day. And that kind of limits my ability to want to have one-on-one care or do some manual therapy techniques that I think might help another person because I need to keep eyes on or help another patient out that's also working out there. So I was like, well, definitely don't want to do that. And I enjoyed actually, surprisingly enjoyed the inpatient rehab setting. So it was better work-life balance too, by the way. And I was like kind of intrigued by that. So I actually started out of grad school in the hospital setting. But then a couple years into it, I'm like, man, I'm missing my specialized skills that I learned as a PT in school. I want to be able to diagnose and then help active clients like get back to what they love to do and help people remain active and healthy and live a nice, healthy lifestyle, that kind of thing. Um, so I was like, well, I don't want to go back to outpatient, so I'm going to start my own thing.
Yeah.
And a couple of things like inspired me to do that. So, like I said, I want to work with an active population, but I also wanted to bring in a preventative approach to physical therapy as well. I didn't want only hurt people to come see me. I wanted to help active people prevent injury as well. So if they're not hurt, but they may be sore or they have a demanding workout schedule or a training schedule, I'd like to see those patients or have those patients come in to really improve, decrease some inflammation that might be in the body over a long period of training bout, or just kind of decrease overall soreness just to keep them fresh and mobile and strong throughout their training sessions. So definitely a preventive approach is big at SCOR as well. And then I always wanted to promote or provide, I should say, that one-on-one customized care that I really think helps people get better faster. And
Yeah.
it streamlines, I think, our rehab plans and process. Communication is always like really, really good. I'm always, texting or emailing my patients to make sure like, okay, how the exercise is doing that I gave you. Like, I don't want to give them some exercises and then find out a week later or 2 weeks later, like, oh, I couldn't do them because it hurt too much, or I didn't,
Yeah.
wasn't doing them right. So that
Yeah.
communication is pretty key to keep that rehab streamlined and efficient as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple things that kind of struck me on that. Number one is just customized.
Yeah.
And secondly is the fact that you're not just trying to get as many people through the door every day as possible. And I think
Right.
we all go through that when we go to our general practitioner, doctor.
Yeah.
There's, they know they have to get you in and out of there in 10 to 15 minutes. And that always feels weird
Yeah.
when they're trying to do that. So it's great that you spend the time with someone to make sure that they're either getting better or stay strong.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
awesome. So what are some of the biggest challenges or struggles you've had to overcome over
Oh,
the
yeah.
last since you started the business?
I mean, I can't say that I'll like overcome anything, like be fully transparent, right? Because I just started this business about a year ago. So like I'm
Yeah,
like fresh as a business owner. And I didn't have any business experience like beforehand. No
yeah,
business experience like in school or anything like that. So I'd say I wrote down a few notes just to like that I think were my biggest challenges. And a couple of the top ones are time management, and staying motivated. So those kind of work like together because starting out, I don't have a full client schedule. I got to go get that. Like I got to build that up over time. And so when you
right.
first start out, you're not seeing anybody. You're like, okay, how do I get people in the door? How do I do all this? And then you have all this time on your hand. You're like, okay, I did an event today. Is there anything else I can do? So it's just like, at first you're like, okay, I need to set some goals. I need to write down what I want to do today or what I need to accomplish at least this week, and so that can make my schedule for myself. So coming from corporate world where I was, had a for me it was 6:30 to 3 Monday through Friday, and then I didn't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah,
Like it's nice and scheduled. I mean, so it's a lot different, and I'm trying to figure it out still, like how to be the most efficient with the time that I have. Um,
yeah,
And like I said, no business background, and then doing and learning everything on my own because I'm the only person
yeah.
that's running SCOR right now. So, which I'm okay with. But yeah, it's just that added stress on how to balance everything. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, and that's a scary part when you start a business and you don't have
yeah,
any clients yet.
yeah,
You
right,
know, and you're sitting there in the first couple of weeks and nobody's walking through the front door. You have to go out and you have to hustle, right?
exactly. Yeah,
But once you start getting clients, it feels great.
it
So
really does. Yeah.
yeah. So you mentioned staying motivated. How do you maintain your motivation and your focus day in and day out to continue to grow?
Yeah. Like I said, one thing that I do is I'll write down what I need to accomplish or do some goal planning, to make sure I'm staying on track. But getting new clients and being able to get somebody new every once in a while, that actually brings a lot of motivation to me. I'm like, okay. And then seeing their success, that like motivates me a ton. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing. I know that this is working. Like things are working out. Like it takes time. But yeah, seeing other patients' success, I'm just like, okay, it's starting to motivate me. And that really helps me stay motivated for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say too. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, please finish.
And then one other thing too that I like to do is work out a lot. So working out daily really helps me stay focused, motivated, relieve some stress, and that kind of thing. So I think that helps me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I started working out again finally. You and I talked about it a few months ago. You said just
Yeah,
work out one day a week and then bump it up to two and bump it up to three.
yeah,
So that's right. It does feel good to hit the gym and get some
exactly.
things done. So especially for
Yeah,
stress. So
yeah.
do you have a support team built around you as well that also keeps you focused and going in the right direction?
Um, I have, yeah. So I obviously my family is great to have. They give me, advice, or if I need to use them as an outlet to talk about what's going on. But I also have a couple, I would say, mentors in my life that have been really great, especially the start of my business. And they just helped connect me to the people that I needed, especially when I was starting my business. They've helped me like just connect me to an insurance person, to a realtor person, landlord, so I can like look for different available spaces and that kind of thing. So when I was in the very beginning stages of building this business, I've had a couple people just been able to really help just network for me and connect people to me so I could get this rolling. So that's been a huge support actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having mentors and people like that is it's incredibly important. But also when
Hmm.
you're stressed out, it gives you somebody to talk to who's been there
Yes,
before. They've been there,
yes.
they've done it. So you've been running your business for a little over a year. What are some of the common misconceptions that you think people have about starting a business and running a business, or even maybe even some you had yourself before
Yeah,
you started a business?
right. I would say my misconception was that I'd be able to grow pretty quick. I'm like,
Yeah.
I might, I could probably work part-time and then this will grow within like a year or two. It's like looking back on it, you're like, okay, that was kind of silly. But that's just, I think, one of the misconceptions. Especially coming from a non-business background, like I had no
Yeah.
idea, right? So definitely growing quick was a misconception. And then money too. So the way that I'm trying to learn this, but my conception now of money in business versus like your personal life is a little different, I'm assuming. So investing like in your business doesn't always yield profit sometimes. Like there's a lot of
Right.
trial and error. And then
Right.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna invest in this. I'll be able to get that money back because I'll get business. And it's like, no, that didn't work.
Yeah.
So um not everything you invest in is going to yield anything. But that's the part of learning, I think, and I enjoy it. It's stressful at times, but I think it helps me
Yeah.
learn just as a person in general.
Yeah. Yeah, but investing in your business is critical for all of us. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't see the benefit of it until 3, 6, 12 months down the road, maybe longer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree. So is your industry, the physical therapy industry, is there a lot of increases in innovation that you have to keep up with as well?
Hmm. Innovation. There are some treatments that people can provide that might be considered innovation, but for example, the thing that comes to mind is my dry needling services that I offer. So you have to get certified to do that. So that is something that's kind of nice to have in my toolbox and just be able to say that I'm dry needling certified to help with
Right,
pain modulation and improving recovery. So
right,
I think that's a great tool to have to kind of give you an edge on your competition. And there's other like tools too that could be innovative, whether it's like objective measures, like using maybe like force plates or things like that, like different kinds of equipment that might look cool and give you objective data to help with rehab and progressing your patients. So there's a lot of different things out there you could use, but the way that I um, look at physical therapy and use that to help my patients is maintaining an active lifestyle and helping them trying to get back to whatever activity they are that they're trying to get back to through a holistic approach. So talking to my patients about diet, exercise, their sleep habits, stuff like that. And then teaching them how to get back into building strength and then um, that graded exposure back into heavy lifting to get back to running or get back to the soccer field or back to sport. So you don't need a whole lot of innovation as a physical therapist to really get people healthy and back
Yeah.
to sport. So, which is nice. So you don't have to always
Yeah.
drop a ton of money on some big piece of equipment.
Right. So then how do you stay ahead of the competition out there?
So one thing for me that I've started to realize is I really need to network a lot. So meeting new people, and getting my name out there, I think that really helps me have an edge on my competition. Because I would say that I don't have the edge in my location aspect, maybe. I actually have a lot of competition that are private physical therapists. They start in CrossFit gyms or they start in local gyms. So they have a lot of people coming in that are looking for therapy or therapy services like recovery stuff. So I don't have the advantage in that aspect. However, the reason I didn't want to do that is I didn't want that to be maybe my only clientele. I didn't
Right.
want that to be have a limited space as well. They usually have like a small room. They're not able to have exercise equipment in there. So, which I think is huge when rehabbing from injury is being able to learn how to progressively overload your tissues so they can become stronger and so you don't have to get hurt again. And sometimes you need a little bit more than just some light bands to do that. So that's why when you came into my office, you saw like a full squat rack system and a lot of like heavier weights and that kind of thing, because people will soon progress to that level because that's what's going to help them prevent getting injured again or just getting back to sport. So I think in
Right.
that way, I have an advantage over some of the other physical therapy clinics that kind of just do the manual therapy techniques instead of doing manual therapy plus um, resistance exercises.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So, what to take it a little bit different direction? What's probably what do you find most challenging about your industry for people that maybe either want to get into the same industry or who are just you know you know working on the other side inside the hospitals?
Mm. I would say, so what was the question again? What's most
Yeah,
challenging
just what's the most what do you find most challenging about your industry?
is trying to convince people to use you and trust you as a physical therapist. So being confident in what you know and how you believe you can treat the patients, but you need to be able to convey that in a way that they'll buy in. So sometimes that's really challenging, especially starting from scratch. Like no one know I made this brand name. No one knows what this is, right? This is brand spanking new. I'm not on any commercials on TV.
Right.
So being able to just get your name out there is huge too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
That's, that like, you could probably say that for just about everybody who starts a
yeah,
business is you start off, nobody knows who you are. So it's
yeah,
getting the name out there. So
yeah,
where do you see SCORE in the next 12 to 36 months?
yeah. I'm really hoping by the 36 months that I'll be able to use this as like my full-time gig and be able to provide for my family with SCORE. So I'm really hoping this becomes my job and I can like profit from it and all that kind of stuff, and be sustainable on it. But even long-term speaking too, I do have a vision for SCORE that it becomes like this mecca, would you call it, for health and fitness. So, there's going to be like a big gym, there'll be like a recovery room, and then there'll also be a PT room in there. And it all kind of works together and it helps people maintain or helps people on their health and fitness journey, and just keeping people active, keeping them pain free, and helping them perform at their best ability, honestly. So that's
Yeah.
like the big vision for what SCORE will become.
Yeah. You know what? I can't wait to see that. So
Yeah.
I'll be watching. So, what's the best business advice any one of your mentors or anybody has given you to this point?
Stay patient
Yeah.
because that was one of my misconceptions, right? So,
Yeah.
staying patient. And then one that I've kind of learned on my own is don't compare yourself. So, it's very easy for me to compare myself on social media. Um, Scrolling through other like PT practices and that kind of thing. And it's just hard to not compare yourself and kind of stay in your lane and realize maybe your goals might be a little bit different. Maybe
Right.
your practices are a little bit different and you want them to stay that way. So just be confident about them and try not to, compare.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice. So, final question for you.
Okay.
And this really goes out to, someone who might be having trouble deciding to start that business, or they
Yeah.
may be in their first year or two, like yourself, and they're struggling. What advice would you give someone like that on either side?
Yeah. So someone that, well, actually, is my father-in-law. So what he told me before I even start, I told him I wanted to start a business. He actually told me, he's like, okay, well then you got to build your business plan. I'm like, oh, all right. So I mean, if you go to a bank and you're looking for a loan, I wasn't, but they're going to want to expect to see a business plan too.
Yeah,
So I think it's really important to at least write out all that stuff, right? What you plan on doing as your business. What are your goals? What are your mission and vision and um, your SWOT analysis and all that stuff that goes into a business plan. So I think having a plan before you start trying to just jump right in would be a
yeah,
huge help. And then networking. So if you're still thinking about doing it, you're not 100% sure, build your plan first, start doing a little bit of networking, get to know people in this industry and around the industry. So personal trainers or massage therapists or doctors in the area. Starting the network, I think, will help even speed up your success in growing too. So that's what I would say. And then for people that are already in it and are still kind of struggling about like, well, why am I not growing fast enough or why can't I hold on to patients a little bit longer, that kind of thing. I would say to reflect on what you're doing. So taking time to just reflect and look upon each case and each scenario that you've had and be like, okay, what did I do? Did I do that right? Did I do that wrong? And then how can I improve for the future?
yeah. Those are both good sets of advice. Listen, Austin, I really appreciate you taking part. It's good to hear more of the story of your business.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people out there will benefit from some of the advice and some of your experiences. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way, honestly, is going to my website at scoreperformandrecover.com and then going to my contact page. So we can schedule a free consultation phone call to see if, score is going to be right for you. We'll talk about your goals and what you're looking for, that kind of thing. But I'm also on social media. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So you can connect with me through those socials and then message me through there. So, like I said, I'm just a one-man show right now, so I'll be able to respond and there'll be an easy communication, I think. So just reach out to me via my website or socials and we'll get in touch.
All right, that's great. And I'll make sure everybody has all your information as well. So anybody out there watching this, stay tuned and you'll have all that information. Austin,
Great.
once again, thank you very much. And everybody out there watching, I appreciate uh, you paying attention to the interview series as well. Once again, thanks for taking part in mastering the numbers. Austin, take care. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.